Bear with me 2 seconds while I just get this link and put it on a story quickly. Just getting a quick little link up for Instagram. Okay. Hello, people. Let's see how this goes. So I'm going to go and recreate a few of my art pieces from the 30-day challenge. It's going to be a really quick stream. I don't really think it'll be too difficult to do. I've not got too many issues, I don't think. And I don't think it's going to be too long. So let's go and get into it, shall we? I think that's a good idea. Okay. So one of the first pieces I'm going to recreate is just that Dark Angel one. And if I just go in and put a reference in so you guys can see it. There's me looking horrendous. Here we go. I'm going to start with this one, just because it's quite basic, quite easy to do. And it's just a really good way of just getting any kind of emotion you've got out. So the first thing I always do is I just do like a basic rough sketch. So you can see in this reference, there's not actually too much to it. All we need to do is get a little circle in here. Ooh. Would help if I used the right brush. And I like this ink bleed. I really like this brush. And I use it for a lot of things. So we just need the head in. What I really like about this art style that I've sort of been developing is it does not have to be perfect. It's just all about getting some of that negative emotion that I've got in me out. Do you know what I mean? That's all it's about. It doesn't have to be perfect. To be honest, the rougher it is, the better. So we're going to come in here. We're just going to block him out a little bit down there. And then we've just got to make another sort of arm. Go. We can actually make this a bit thicker because it feels like he's a bit thin. You also don't really need to be perfect. Like I said, it just does not have to be perfect. I do kind of want to move him a bit though. So I'm going to put him like a bit more in the middle. And then I'm just going to sort of etch these wings in. Also don't have to be perfect. Have them come down here. Maybe have the arms in there. And just get this other wing kind of drawn in there. And that is most of the work done. Now, the way that I use this to kind of get rid of that negative emotion, and it doesn't really show up in my time lapses that well, because of the way Procreate does a time lapse, it seems to store each pen movement. So if I was to go in here and go like all of that, and then go into the time lapse, you'll see that this just comes up as one big thing. So sometimes this doesn't really work in a time lapse, but the whole idea is to just get that emotion out. It's about driving it down through my arm and just scratching it out. So I always start with a bit of a darker gray, something like this. I don't want my background to be a pure white, so I just go and take a smaller gray there. And then I just start scribbling. It's really that simple. Get that head in a bit, and then I'll come here and I'll just sort of etch things out. Really just sort of letting it go as it works. And you can see like my arm is just, you can't really see it on the stream. If I move this down a little bit, you might be able to see more. I'm not too sure how well that's going to work. We'll see what it looks like in a second. But I'm just going to keep drawing here while I wait for that to catch up on the stream. So I'm just literally scribbling away, keeping these sort of rough original things that I put there in, making sure I'm on the right layer. Really etch these wings out, you know, I just really want them to come out. And then I'm just going to come in. Here's the arms. They can kind of just blur out as well. This is going to come down. And we're just going to sort of spin out. And if you notice something about like Dark Angels, they've always got like this long sort of dress look. The bottom of their clothing is always sort of just a big long circular dress style thing. So we're going to kind of do that. Like, look, you can even see it there. I'll just draw it in quickly. And then it's all about just, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just send it. Just let your arm do the work. That's all this is about. Probably a bit too far to the right there, but it's okay, because we're just going to scribble over most of it. And I'm going to go down here, and like I said, I'm just etching everything out. You can literally, it doesn't matter what you do, really. It really doesn't with this style. It's not about perfectionism. It's not about looking amazing or anything. It's just about expressing yourself, really just pushing it down. And that does work. Look at that. You can see pretty much everything that I'm doing. You can't see my face anymore, though, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, we just want to get it in. We really want to just build this sort of style out with each scratch. So, like, go a bit crazy, get the head back in, maybe some more scratches up here. And just let your arm just go crazy. It's literally like that. Just send it. Use basic shapes. Just sort of like sketch them out. Get them really out there. Let's elongate this face a bit so it sort of feels like it's dropping down a bit. All I really need to do. And then the halo. We'll get the halo in there. It's just an oval, scratchy oval. And like I'm starting to lose a bit of the shape of this wing up here. So I'm just going to come in and just get it out again. More darkness here on the edge so I can just see where the edge of that wing is. Same here. Same here. Now just go out there. And I'm going to sort of spiral this up so it sort of follows the shape of the clothing. And I think I'll do for the grey. I really do. Like, that's all it takes. There's just a little bit of that. Just get something out of you. If you're like stuck in... Have you ever seen that meme where the guy's doing yoga in a Shrek outfit or something and he's been told to scream and just get it all out? It's very similar, if I'm honest with you. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to take this black. And the black's really good because this grey is going to be sort of more of a add depth to the piece. I'll just take this black. Once I remember, I'm using ink brush. Get that halo in. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just, you really just want to sort of get it out. And then here, gonna get this face. Gonna sort of do two circles here. So we've got the bottom circle and then the top circle, if you can kind of see that. It's almost like I'm doing a figure of 8 for the head. And now I'm just going to do a big oval over it. And then I'm going to bring this out. Feel free to say something in the chat if you want to. You don't have to, though. Just sort of sit there and chill if you really want. And I'm going to use like, for the black, I'm going to use a lot more like up and downy lines. So for the grey, I was kind of being really, really just free flowing. Everything was coming out. For the black, I really want to sit there and just sort of get this up and down, this motion. to sort of define the clothing and to send a little bit of direction through everything. And now I'm going to come in here, the wings. And if you want this to just look a little bit better, normally if these were wings, if you think about a bird's wing, this bit up here would be quite meaty, and down here it would just be a lot of feathers. So we can kind of just sort of, not as much with the black, but sort of fill it in a bit up here. And then we want to get rid of that spike as well. That spike looks a bit rough. So I'm going to just go in there. And then same, the meat would kind of come down on the side of a wing. And now I'm just going to come up here. This really is how I deal with a lot of my mental health at the moment. It's like if I get massive anxiety, if I get a big depression attack, it's just all about using this properly and just sort of getting it out there. I say depression attack like it goes away. It really doesn't, but it is what it is. You just gotta learn to deal with it, send it. Let's go a bit more up and down. And let's just start following the shape of this wing a bit more. And then we're going to let that kind of blur out. I want to define this edge a little bit more, so I'm just going to scribble it all in. Once again, I'm going to come over to this one and just sort of start following the shape of the wing a bit more. Follow this one's wing shape a bit more. I'm going to look for somewhere where it looks like I haven't really got enough of black in it. I'm just going to pull it out. Now here I'm going to actually just come in and do a load of loops, like long oval loops. And I don't think this head's quite long enough. I really want it to be more of a hood shape. So I'm just going to come in and fix the head a bit. I am sorry that you guys can't listen to the same music as me, but I will get struck if I play my own music on the stream. So I may end up singing along to different things than you guys. And we've kind of lost this arm a little bit here. So we're going to bring it back in. And this one. I'm going to try and just keep the thickness semi-right, but it, like I said, does not matter. We're pretty much like, we're not too far off the reference that I had from my other piece. The other piece had this kind of drooping shoulder, so I could have gone down here a bit more. I think it's probably a little bit too late. This is Procreate, so I can just take a brush, this. Sort of get rid of a bit if I really need to. Let's just make this a really small brush. Get rid of that a bit. And get that droop in a little bit more. And we just need to kind of go in and fill it in a bit now so it doesn't look like we've done that. And then I'm going to go back on the grey layer. And just grab that grey. Where is the bit that I want? Here, this grey that we had. I'm just going to fill that spot in so it doesn't really, you can't really tell we used the erase. That's the main thing, is getting rid of that eraser look now. And the way I'm going to do that is just by going in and scratching over everything. I'm going to take this one. Ooh, wrong color. Back to black. And I'm just going to send it like that. That's all we need to do. And then I think this does probably need a bit of color. when I add color to these, I don't like it being on top of the black. It just kind of, I'll show you why. But if I come in here and I put it like a red over the top of this black, it doesn't really work. But if I was to, actually, if I leave that there so you can see, take this, put it down here, then I can start like just bringing a bit of color out. Maybe get a bit of redness on the edge. It's always good to just occasionally go like a bit wild with your pen as well. Just, you know, a bit scratching. Like any time that you feel that you just need to, just scribble it out. We can probably make this more of like a fiery halo. You know, we can get a bit of a fire going up there. So let's just scratch that in. Since we're going for this fiery look, we probably want an orange in there. I also like this dark purple, so I'm just going to send a little bit of the dark purple into it. It's just really about doing whatever you want. And what you're kind of using is the density of each line to bring out the shape. And that's it. Honestly, like, it's just how I get it out. It's the only way to do it, really, for me at the moment. But obviously the thing is with the time lapses, this won't work. Watch. 17 odd minutes of drawing turns into a 4 second time lapse because it's all done with one pen stroke. Anyway. Another one that I wanted to do was this in my head here. Now this one takes a little bit more setup, and we'll see how well I can do it. So if I go into the canvas, reference. Go. So the important thing with this one was it does take a little bit of like, I'm not going to say I'm good at drawing by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not amazing. There are definitely better artists out there than me. But requires a little bit of face shape understanding, I guess. So you want a circle. And if you notice here, there's a line. So if this was my days, I can't even do it. But yeah, I'll just do it here. Want to etch this in. And then the eye line is kind of like halfway down. The nose line is halfway in between that. And then the mouth line's down here somewhere. And you just want to get that facial jaw shape in. And then the neck kind of comes down a bit more. You don't have to worry about this. I've probably done this a bit too far down. So we'll just leave it there. Then we'll just have the shoulders coming down like that. Sketch that in. Collarbones in. Like I said earlier on in the stream, the thing with this stream, like this style that I'm sort of making and my style is, it just does not have to be perfect. I don't like that being so high up. I'm going to bring it down a bit more. And then the in my head just kind of comes out like that. We need to free layer it. We can even stretch it, but probably better go inwards. Just gonna get the eye in. Want to kind of get these letters sort of. There we go. There we go. And then we want the head here. E. A. And the D. And then here, what I kind of went for was more of a, probably need that a bit bigger. More of like a bandana sort of going around his head. Or her head, doesn't really matter here. And we're just gonna bring a nose out. I've probably put this a bit too much on like a slant, but it does not matter. And then here's the face. So I want the ear to be like kind of up here. That out a bit more, and honestly that'll do. That's just like the base layer. I'm gonna get that grey that I had out before. I'm gonna lower the opacity of this base layer so it's not constantly sticking at me. I'm just gonna go. Want to smooth out that nose a little bit more. Ooh, there's the rubber. Gonna get that face. Gonna pull this jawline out a little bit. Probably want the jaw out a bit more. And this will come in a bit. Here we go, we'll go into the lettering. It's all about just getting that feeling out, do you know what I mean? It's all about just pushing it. Just sort of trusting the process a little bit. If you want realism and perfection, like, this is the wrong style, but some people can do it. Some people are like insane and can actually do it. I'm not that good. I've only been in this kind of style for about 10 days, so you know. And obviously when I make the shorts and stuff, I do put a bit more, like, just effort into this. But and like, if I don't like it, I get rid of it. But on the live stream, that's just not really something I can do. Ooh. going to go on the next layer, and if I hide this, you can kind of see that it's going to start coming out. Just get that ear out a little bit. Bring the neckline down with the black. Really using the black to define shape right now. Get a bit of an Adam's apple in. Yeah, now we need to get this mouth out a bit. Not planning for this to be too much of a long stream, to be fair. But see how this goes. I want this D coming up a bit more. This A probably. I want to try and get rid of a lot of this negative space that's between them letters. Thicken this bandana that's going around the eyes. Really just don't want this to be perfect. The more perfect it is, the worse it feels to me. It's not meant to be like amazing. It's just meant to get that emotion out. It's meant to display that emotion, and that emotion isn't perfect, so why should the art be? I'm going to bring this up a bit more though. That jaw looks just a little bit too square for my liking. And then bring this in. Kind of arch it out into the H. So the head becomes part of the H. Same here. I'm gonna just bring this D out. His nose is probably a bit big, but who cares? Now we just need some like kind of shading almost. Get a bit more of that shadow coming down there. Something isn't really too right with this guy right now, and I can't put my head on what it is. I'm not really too sure, but we'll see. I think honestly, probably just the angle he's at. Ooh. Probably just put them on too much of an angle. Should have made it a bit more straight. Because now this head over here isn't right. This reference that I did earlier, it was more of a straight-on portrait look. Whereas this one, I've tried to sort of give it a bit of variety. I don't want to draw the same thing twice on the stream, and it's just kind of not worked. But it is what it is. Gonna go in here. And then just big to it, like it's a straight line. Mm-hmm. Not my best work. I think it is part of the issue with being like a bit of a new streamer. Sometimes I'm getting a bit nervous and like my brain's just not really working as much. I'm sure that will go in time as I get used to it though. Bring this out. Probably get grey below all the colours, to be honest. And I'm feeling it like green. Like more of a neon. Do, 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 do. I'm going to need to go back on the black and bring that E out a bit. And I forgot to change the background color. Ooh, too dark, too dark. I don't know. I'm just kind of sending it. Sometimes it takes a few attempts to look like this. But I don't know. I think that's where I leave it. As you can see, some of them don't work. And some of them do. I can show you how I did that as well, actually. There's a sneak peek of what I was trying to do the other day. Okay. Oh my god, the chat's disabled. I'm not going to be on here too much longer, to be fair. I'm just going to probably get this hard one down. Actually, no, I don't like that. I really want this to sort of arch out. Like that. I'm going to want this to be a bit of a 3D shape, so this bit here, if I just go in, kind of bring that out so I remember in the future. And just send it, just go. Try and bring that out a bit more, really get that curvature going on there. Same here, really want to curve that out. Lie on my screen.
We were sparks on quiet streets, too hard to find where to meet. But life pulled us apart, left me talking to the dark. If I called you tonight, would it feel the same? Or have we both moved on to different names? Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars. When the world felt small and your hands felt warm. Take me back to the start, if only for a moment. I've been up since 3, scrolling back where we used to be. Half truths in this late night chat, both of us knowing what a lie that. Funny how we talk like we're fine, but your name still lives in my rhyme. Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars. Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars. When the world felt small and your hands felt warm. Take me back to the start, if only for a moment.
Yeah, I just use this as an excuse to like really get it out.
If only for a moment. If only for a moment. Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars. When the world felt small and your hands felt warm. Take me back to the start, if only for a moment.
Sorry, I kind of like stopped talking for a bit. Just sort of. Maybe we'll make one side like red. Bring a lot of that red out. This side. Maybe make another side of it more of this. Really kind of bring it out on this side. And we do need to bring some over here. I'm just going to go back to that black because I think we're just sort of like don't have enough depth with this. Anyway, screw it. I'm gonna end this because no one's watching. See you later.